We're talking about stress awareness, food and mood, how certain foods can affect our mood. What I love about food in general is that it's so individualized and how it can make us feel. Different foods can create different moods and can be different for different people. So it's important to know that. And different people and different cultures and everything like that. So we're going to speak a little bit about stress, nutrition as it pertains to stress, some more nutrition, and then I always like to end with some recipes. So what is stress? Everyone speaks about stress in different ways and saying, I feel stressed today, or I'm feeling stressed, my body's under stress. But what actually is stress? What is the definition? So stress is the body's response to uncomfortable or a dangerous situation. That's how we're really using it, but this is the real definition of it. And we all experience stress of some kind. Somebody can say, oh, I don't get stressed. Everybody gets stressed in different ways. Now, the nutrition. What are some mood boosting foods? So we have things like healthy fats, whole grains, lean proteins. These are mood boosting foods, and they're also what foods should be primarily on our plate at mealtime. Other mood boosting foods are dark chocolate, citrus fruits, avocados, gut health, and stress. A healthy gut also lowers stress. There is so much research that has come out now that associates our gut to stress. And so the healthier our gut is, the less there's the hormone that produces stress or creates higher levels of stress is lower. So super important to make sure that we're eating foods that are good for our gut. Pickled foods, fermented foods, those are all really good and gut healthy, as well as oats. So there's prebiotics and probiotics in these foods, and that is what's going to help feed our gut and help keep it nice and healthy. Caffeine and stress. So caffeine can keep you up at night, and sleep is super important for health. It's important for all types of health, but especially our mental health. Limit caffeine so you can get a good night's sleep. And caffeine is one of those things that really affects people differently. So for me, I can still have caffeine at like 5 p.m. and I will have no problem going to sleep by 9 p.m. But there are some people that by 1 o'clock, if they're going to have any little bit of caffeine, it will keep them up at night. Everybody reacts very differently to it. There's no research that suggests training your body to get used to the caffeine, and I actually wouldn't do that. But it is really important to know our bodies, right? Ultimately, we really need to make sure we're going to get a good night's sleep, at least set ourselves up for a good night's sleep. Sometimes it's really out of our control whether or not we're going to get a good night's sleep, but we should control the factors that we can. And if caffeine is something that's going to not allow us to have a good night's sleep, then that's very important to know. It's important to know your body and know how caffeine is going to affect it. We also want to focus on mindful eating. So mindful eating can look 100 different ways from 100 different people. The first thing is we want to eat intuitively. We want to make healthy choices. We have the healthy fats, we have the whole grains, we have the lean protein. So we want to make sure that we're eating intuitively and we're choosing healthy foods. We also want to be present. We don't want to eat around screens. Try to put your phones away. I know sometimes we all sit there and we're scrolling our phones, and I am completely guilty of that as well. But really try to be present, eating as a family, even if you're by yourself, just putting away the phone, not having the TV on. I know sometimes it's nice to sit in front of the TV and eat and it's relaxing, but it actually doesn't allow us to have like any moment of quiet and peace. And mealtime during the day, it's a little bit harder. Sometimes people are at work or the day is just kind of going and we're scarfing down lunch. But dinner, I always find that should be a relaxing time. So just unwind from the day, turn off the screens. If you're with someone at home, eat with them, talk with them, enjoy yourself with them. If you're alone, take some time for yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. Chew slowly. That's going to help us digest our food properly. It's also going to help us from overeating, because when we're chewing properly and we're digesting properly, we're going to not scarf down food and we're not going to stuff our face, but we're going to know much quicker when we're full and when we're ready to stop eating. Our hunger cues and our fullness cues will work a lot better when we chew slowly and we just relax a little bit. And that's why watching TV and being on our screens, it doesn't allow us to be aware of our fullness cues and our hunger cues. So it's going to be super important to make sure that we are chewing slowly and just being mindful of whether or not we're still hungry. And also just take deep breaths. And that just goes along with what we said before, chewing slowly and making sure we're aware of our fullness cues. But it's a very important thing that we get used to slow down. When we put our screens away, we'll be able to be a little bit more mindful. So smart snacking, sometimes we want to eat when we're not hungry, and that's okay. But when that is the case, we don't want to stuff our face with things like chips and things that are like more unhealthy. We want to focus on things that are going to be healthier, especially like raw vegetables, carrots, bell peppers, cucumbers. And the reason that I put these foods there is because these are what we call free foods. There's no carbohydrates, there's there's barely any calories, and we're still getting good nutrients in there. They're nutrient dense, but we're not getting anything like sugar, like carbohydrates or anything of that sort. So we're still focusing, we're still eating, we're getting nutrients. It's going to help give us a little bit of a fuller stomach, but in a smart and healthy way. And then some recipes. We have mashed plantains and eggs. So eggs, plantains, red onion, olive oil, salt, pepper, and avocado. These are just the cooking instructions. And these are some really good recipes that will help boost our mood. For dinner, chicken mole, so chicken thighs, chicken broth, dark chocolate, tomato sauce, and then some spices. And again, that's using dark chocolate and things like that. And some of these spices also are mood boosters. More things to talk about, more than just food, getting a good night's sleep. We really want to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep at least a night. And there's nights we're going to have bad sleeps, and that's fine. But we want to consistently, for the most part, good amounts of sleep, because that's really going to be helpful. Also, exercise. Exercise is going to be very important. The USDA recommends 120 minutes per week of exercise. And that can look different for everybody. I know not everybody is able to go for walks and runs and things like that. And even doing chair exercise and just finding things that work for you and getting those resistance bands. Those are really good things. Just getting something in is going to be super helpful and will be big mood boosters. I find for me, when I'm feeling really stressed, doing a workout is super helpful for my mental health. And there's a reason for that. We build up those endorphins, and that's all helpful to help relieve stress. And also mindfulness, practicing mindfulness. There are some really great mindfulness YouTube videos that you can go on YouTube and you can just write like meditation. They're like 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and it is so relaxing. Another really good thing to focus on. Mental health. If we're really struggling, please go get yourself help. Talk to somebody. There are so many resources available. There's psychiatrists and psychologists and social workers and so many different mental health professions these days, and they're readily available. So definitely get yourself help if you need it. Also, social interactions, whether it's with our family, with our friends, with our neighbors, going to the center and just being with other people is super important. Being alone, it's nice sometimes, but when it's all the time, it can definitely affect our mental health. So make sure we're getting enough social interactions. And also self-care. Sometimes you just need to sit down and watch TV, or you need to sit down and read a book, or get yourself a foot massage, or whatever it is. Just take care of yourself, because if we don't take care of ourselves, we're constantly running and doing whatever it is, and we don't take care of ourselves, it really ends up being detrimental to our mental health as well. So obviously the food part and the nutrition part is very important, but there's so much more to it. And we really need to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves and our mental health and doing the best we can to help relieve as much stress as possible. And there's different stress. There's acute stress and there's chronic stress. And everybody deals with acute stress, and majority of us deal with chronic stress as well. Just making sure that we're doing things to help that chronic stress become a little bit more acute is what the goal is. And we don't want to feel that tightness in our chest all day, every day. It's fine that it's there. We all have stress in our lives, and that's completely normal, but we want the feelings to be more fleeting. And that's something that we feel every single day, that we have the weight of the world on our shoulders.